Yeah, so what have you been up to? How was your New
Yeah.
Year and stuff?
Oh man, it's been busy as always to no one's avail or surprise. It's actually kind of funny because it's a nice 1 month break. That's like
Mm-hmm.
it's cool when you realize you do this every week, and then when you have that break at the end of the year, you're like, thank God it's a month.
Like,
Like 4 weeks,
I'm
don't have
at
to worry
the
about it. Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah, and then kind of recharge a little bit and then get back in on it. But it was really cool. I was spending a lot of time with my niece and my nephew. Had some really cool adventures over at the arboretum, as well as the went to a couple of museums and stuff. So it was really fun. So definitely always loved hanging out with them. Been going still like I've actually just started kind of going serious on the job hunt again. So
Mm-hmm.
hopefully see if I get something soon this year, and then go just have at it at this point. So but yeah, I
Yeah.
mean I haven't, yeah, but for the most part I've been away from streaming. I've been away mostly on the internet and stuff, and I just think I just think this is like a break I definitely needed to have. So and then here in the next couple of months soon though too, because I know there's going to be we're going to be adding I'm going to be adding two new podcasts to the
Oh
thing.
wow.
Yeah, it's crazy. Yeah, two new
I'm sorry,
podcasts.
what?
Yeah, to CFG Dave. So essentially, I can have a little. I can make a little podcast network of all the shows that we got right now. So
Right,
that is
right.
very possible.
Literally.
Very soon. Yeah. So I'm just like, wow. Okay, this is gonna be pretty cool. And I actually got something back from one of from a for to do something like a collab thing. So it's gonna be pretty cool. I'm looking forward to doing that. Doing that, and also got working on new T-shirt designs too on our website, the CFG.store. So definitely check that stuff out. It's freaking awesome. I'm just so surprised, so surprised that we're coming in pretty strong at the beginning of the year. So yeah. So definitely. But yeah, like I said, busy
Nice,
all the
man.
time. Yeah, always on the move. But anyways, guys, I know y'all don't want to be talking about the plans of CFG 2024. We're here for video games and video games only. So let's go through the normal rigmarole that we like to do each and every week. So each of us chooses a topic of discussion in the world of video games. The topic would or could be a game itself or something that happened in the gaming industry. And we do not want to talk about it amongst ourselves. We want you, the viewers and listeners on Twitch, YouTube, and on Kick, to be a part of the conversation. So if there is something that you're wanting to chime in about, by all means, just type it inside the chat. We would love to discuss it with you on any of those platforms, and we make the more the merrier. So let's get this party started. I will go first. So as you know, like, a lot of stuff was happening at CES, which I'm actually surprised that I was not really glued in on CES this year. Like, I was kind of detached from it.
Mm-hmm.
So like product wise, because I'm usually a tech junkie. I love seeing the new stuff that's coming out, and the things like things that I'll be like, okay, I need to get new stuff. I need to get this for my computer, and so on and so forth. The only thing I cared about was the new graphics card, the super cards that are coming out, and I'm definitely going to be picking a new graphics card this year. But the thing that I think that went under the radar, which I think most people kind of glared after, or may
Mm-hmm.
not have noticed about, was that, okay, so SAG AFTRA, this is the Screen Actors Guild of America, the people that, like, the actors, voice actors and stuff like that, the union that they go under, reached an agreement, which is an insane agreement, in my opinion. I think this is the wrong direction. And this company, there's an AI company called Replica Studios, which is that they do AI voice work for different kinds of projects. Well, apparently during CES, they made a deal with the SAG-AFTRA union to introduce groundbreaking AI voice agreements. So games can start using AI voices inside their games, or inside games without the penalty of like people fighting back on this, which is mind blowing to me. Because if you do not remember, if people don't remember very long ago, like back in May, was it May last year?
Yes.
Back in May, the Writers Guild Association was worried about AI. They were worried about, besides the underpayment that they were getting for a long period of time. SAG-AFTRA backed the Writers Guild, and then they also went on strike because of that, because of the same said thing, because of AI. And they were like, okay, we need to protect our people from AI, the AI threat. But then it took them 7 months to fight this thing, and then they finally got into a weird agreement. I don't know what the full agreement was, but I know that AI definitely was not on the table for this thing, for this technology, and also the Screen Actors Guild themselves also were protected by this. The problem is the voice acting is part of SAG-AFTRA, but they're not part of SAG-AFTRA. Like, they weren't a part of the deal that was lamented when they did all of this stuff. So they had to they were going through this process of also fighting for their rights for AI, to protect the voice actors for AI, which is insanely easy to do now. Excuse me, which is insanely easy to do now. So but then out of nowhere, because like this was a back and forth for a long period of time, there was no strikes that were that they were currently doing. But then out of nowhere, that January 9th, SAG-AFTRA on their website officially says Replica Studios, an artificial intelligence voice technology company, and the Screen Actors Guild, American Federation of Television and Radio Artists, announced today that the introduction of a groundbreaking AI voice agreement during an event at CES. This new agreement paves the way for professional voiceover artists to safely explore new employment opportunities for their digital voice replicas and industry-leading protections tailored to AI technology, allowing AAA video game studios and other companies working the replica to access top SAG-AFTRA talent. It's like the agreement between the leading AI voice company and the world's largest performers union will enable Replica to enlarge SAG-AFTRA members under a fair, ethical agreement to safely create and license a digital replica of their voice. Licensed voices can be used in video game development and other interactive media projects and pre-productions to the final release. Okay, so that sounds awesome. That sounds sweet. But here's the thing. The problem wasn't the fact that they were going to be using their voice to use the voices, because anyone can set it up so that you can use the person's likeliness and then have at it. They can use it again. The problem is the person that provided the voice is not getting paid if they decide to say, okay, we're gonna bank your voice on The Last of Us for AI, but then Last of Us 2 comes out and they're like, okay, you need to be in this game because your character is going to be in this game. Oh, but you're not going to physically be there. Oh, don't worry, we got your AI voice banked. You're not going to get paid for Last of Us 2 because you're not physically there. AI is going to be doing that for you and stuff. That was the big threat of why everyone was freaking out about AI, and then now they're having one studio to be able to do it, to be like, oh, this is perfectly fine. This is going to be so much easier for a AAA studio who has the money to provide all of this stuff, to now have a giant shortcut to not pay their voice actors for this thing. And what makes this even more shadier, when the vote came available for this wasn't like a unanimous vote. This was like an late night vote that only like a small amount of people were showed up for, and then it went through. So it was like a backdoor kind of deal when this thing got approved. So I was like, I've talked to folks like Stephen Bloom, Caitlin Glass. All these folks are like talking about all this different kinds of stuff, and I'm just thinking to myself, how the hell did we get here? This is freaking insane. So I kind of want to get y'all's what y'all's thoughts were about this, because this is unbelievable to me. Unbelievable.
Go ahead, Smitty.
So yeah, and there's a number of things here. Now, number one, my understanding is that these deals are good for, I want to say 2 or 3 years, before they go back and can make changes and stuff like that. The egregious thing to me, though, is that, again, this whole fight started with AI. So I don't understand. They're saying that they came to this agreement for protections for actors, but I'm not seeing it. Again, I guess, and I don't know what that process looks like in terms of licensing somebody's voice for a project. What does that extend to? I'm guessing that that's going to be on a case-by-case basis made by talent managers and these companies. I don't know if this just allows it, or it allows them to be able to there's so many details excuse me, that I feel that are missing within this. Again, does somebody have the right to just use your voice in perpetuity for whatever? Do they have to get permissions before they can use your voice in a project that it necessarily was not intended towards? What does it look like? What would a contract look like in terms of that, and how do people continue to get paid? That's one of the biggest things. If somebody could just use AI voice and I no longer physically need the person, I could see where that could be a relief in terms of the actor. If they have multiple projects going on, they're able to lend their voice to a project they couldn't necessarily go in and do, themselves. But then do they get any say on what they're saying, what the project is, whatever? I feel like there's a lot of details that are missing in terms of that. And I still I don't see the protections, even with the writer's strike ending and SAG AFTRA. I know, and I had heard from other actors that they weren't satisfied with what was set in stone or not set in stone, what was basically the tentative deal that they came up with between studios, and these members. So I don't think anything is set in stone in terms of that. Again, I don't know what this looks like. And it feels like voice actors, especially folks in animation and gaming, are kind of a subsect of actors that the union's like, oh yeah, you guys are a part of us, but like you're kind of like the redheaded stepchild, so you can have some crumbs.
Watch it.
You're basically the Lex of the family.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that sounds a lot better.
Was that not it? It's weird. I just didn't understand it. And then the way that they went about it. I mean, you had folks on. You had Young Yi and like you said, Steve Bloom being like, they literally put that, hey, we came to an agreement as an industry, and these folks that are in this industry are like, we didn't even know about this until this Twitter post. Yeah. So it's like, something ain't adding up here. I'm curious to see what more comes from this, and why just one particular studio?
Right.
You know what I mean? I would think if they were to come to a deal, it'd be like an industry-wide thing, not just specifically with a studio. So I want to know what those details are that you were able to iron out with this one particular studio, because that means other studios are not safe. And again, I haven't gotten into the details or physically read what the stuff has said, but from my understanding, from what I'm taking from an outsider's point of view, is that there's a lot of holes in this, and it does not make sense to me at all.
Yeah. So it's interesting because when Davis was reading off exactly what the announcement was, to me, as a person who has done voiceover work, et cetera, it sounded as if you were saying, Alexa, you could go to this AI company and say, hi, I would like to do a contract with you. I'm going to get in the studio booth. You record 2 hours of me reading whatever, and then you are able to then take that and pay me for work that I otherwise couldn't do because I'm working on another project, right? But my voice can then be lent into this video game or a commercial, whatever it is, right? And then I would then be paid for it as if I had been there. But that's not what this actually seems to be, right? Like, so I am incorrect, yes?
I mean,
to an extent?
I don't know. Well, to be honest with you, I don't know if that means that they would have to go through AI. To be honest with you, the way I look at it is I think the way it's going to work is because this is going to depend on the AAA studio that's going to be using their services. So if they're so I'm assuming the AAA studio will depend if they want to get voice actors to do whatever they're wanting to do, that they said that they're going to go through this specific studio if they're wanting to save the money for AI, for their AI bank, and say, hey, who do you have in your AI bank that we want that you have, and then they'll be like, okay, we'll give you this and this kind of people and stuff. That, I mean, this is my assumption. I don't know if that's the way it's going to work, but like that's the most logical thing that would make sense.
Yeah, I just so if how I interpreted it is how it's going to be, I don't necessarily see an issue with it. Um I could be 100% wrong with how I, again, am interpreting this information, because if other actors in the SAG-AFTRA are like, "Wait a minute, this no, 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 like, why did we just have um, a whole boycott for, like, a year, and none of us could find out what movies were coming out because nobody could advertise," and basically ruined media for, like, 6 months. Now you guys are given an okay to an agreement to one entity that is an AI company, and not other AI company. There's so many things, like, I want a breakdown of details when stuff like
But
this
here's the
happens,
thing.
because it just leaves too many questions. And then when you assume, right, the lovely phrase is, you make an ass out of you and me. But I don't want to assume. I want to know, give me the facts, lay them out in concrete so I can go, yes, this was a good deal, or what the hell are y'all doing,
Okay, I
right?
understand. Yeah, I understand that. I mean, like, the thirst for information makes a lot of sense. But however, this is the thing. I think this is what makes it really different. The people that are immediately affected by this, the voice actors directly affected by this, not one of them has said that this was a good deal. Like, none of them
Right.
have said it was a good deal. Like for instance,
Which makes
Stephen.
me think they know
Yeah,
something we don't, right?
yeah, Stephen O. Young. You know Stephen O. Young, right? Mr.
Yes.
Negative. His first immediate thing, immediately when he saw this, and like to this, he said, "I used to say SAG-AFTRA strong, not anymore." I mean,
Yep.
that alone, and just in that statement of us even looking on the outside, just says a million things. Like, like you said, we don't know, because we're on the outside of all of this. And then I even spoke to like two people a part of this, like a part of it. Like I told you, I spoke to an ADR, Caitlin Glass, who also, like, she played Winry in like Full Metal Alchemist and stuff like that,
Right.
in Pop Culture Gems and stuff. And she was like saying that she like she hasn't really got read the full thing, the official thing within her SAG-AFTRA deal, but she is saying that this is incredibly dangerous. And it doesn't make any lick of sense of all of this. So if the people who are officially are having issues with this is affecting their money, is like saying this is a terrible deal, and the way they executed it, which was incredibly shady in my opinion, is like it just throws red flags in itself. Yeah. So I can understand one thing about saying, like, we may not know, because we definitely don't know. We're not voice actors,
Right.
and
But
stuff.
if
But
a
if the
large
voice
group is saying it's not good, then
if the voice actors are saying it's not good, then there's something else that you may want to be like, I wonder why. I've been trying to
And
find
I think
some
it does
information.
benefit
I've been
a percentage of folks that do that stuff, but largely the people that, your day-to-day people that do this, there's not a lot of pay in that stuff in itself. So, you know what I mean? Like, I can see how it'd be beneficial if you're already a super megastar or whatever, but like for your everyday person, now there's less roles to even be casted, because I can just go get George Clooney's voice, or I can get, whatever. And again, that's a whole separate subset of acting and actors. It takes a certain skill set to be able to do that stuff, and they're completely negating that by, I feel, doing something like this. And it just, I mean, it does not, it clearly, if the response of folks that are in the industry is, this is bad, I'm going to tend to lean towards that, because industries, and even with unions, look at the teacher union stuff that's going on here. there's still people that they've come up with a tentative thing, but like there's so much like negative that's still there, and they did not accomplish everything that they were set to
Not even
accomplish.
close.
It sets a dangerous precedence.
No, I agree. Well, and let's keep in mind, I haven't done voice acting in 16, 17 years. And I was a part of a group. And the contract that now I'm almost wondering, because I wasn't a part of SAG AFTRA, they still have my tapes. If legally they own those tapes, they own my voice for another 5 years. I mean, relatively speaking, that company could then turn around and give this
Sell it to
AI
AI.
company, and I don't own my voice anymore. I am not
Right.
my own. Oh no.
Yeah.
I didn't think
Right.
about that.
Because
Oh,
that was
that's
the other
not
thing too. Is like
good.
how long
No.
are they allowed to use the voices? Is it
Right.
forever? They just
yeah.
have once they have it banked. It almost reminds me of like a Westworld thing.
Yeah.
Where like, you know what I mean, they're just basically collecting all this stuff on us to where they won't need the people anymore. They can have AI generate the character, the voice, all that stuff with things that were pre-recorded, and you no longer get to make money off your own image or your voice.
Yeah.
It's
I mean,
crazy.
like, and here's the
yeah.
thing though too, even full AI, like, you know, like, think one of the games that use full AI for voices is like the Finals, I believe, is one of the games that uses full
The
AI.
announcers, yeah.
For the voice, for voiceovers and stuff like that, is cutting corners. Now, I'm not saying to ridicule the Finals for using AI. I'm just saying that, like, just like if with things like this, with things like AI specifically, and you're literally going, like, to say that you got to be very careful with the or imagine, like, the people that are providing these voices, like, how are they going to be, you know, be paid or reimbursed or whatever for the stuff, because like already, like, voice actors don't get like a royalty for anything that they do. I mean,
Crazy.
and yeah, and on top of all of that,
Unless you have
it's
it
so
in your
crazy.
contract.
And
Read your
Right.
it's still,
contract.
yeah, it's still fairly rare though. I mean, it's not like you get like I mean, it's not like David Hayter gets residuals for Metal Gear Solid. No, I mean, it's still very
Right.
very rare.
No.
Yeah, so I'm just saying that, like, it's crazy. And by the way, guys, like, if you also wanted to check out some more, like, I think one of the best people that speaks about AI, especially for voice actors, follow Jennifer Hale, dude. Like, Jennifer Hale is like freaking loud when it comes to this kind of stuff.
Yeah.
So there's no way. And in my mind, when I saw the Stephen O. Young thing, because it came on my post thing on Twitter, I was like, okay, I gotta see what Jennifer Hale's gonna say. And she's been talking nonstop on this for like the past 4 days. So yeah, that's the kind of, so definitely check it out. But yeah, I'm very disappointed in this. I like, especially with all the people that I've talked about and stuff when they decided on this choice. But anyways, we'll see if they're going to renege or whatever. I don't know. But God, terrible.
Yeah, because I think they still have to ratify all this stuff. I don't know that they've officially ratified the these agreements and whatnot. The members, because I'm pretty sure the members have to ratify what these changes are and the stuff that's gone through.
Don't they have to do like a vote too?
I have no idea.
I think so.
I thought they did.
Well, I thought the vote was the thing that they did that went through. Well, anyways, I don't know.
So that's the union will cut deals or do whatever, but the union members still have to vote on whether. Yeah, exactly.
Okay, well, hopefully they nip this one in the bud, because hell no, that's terrible.
Yeah.
All right, Lex.
I knew you were gonna say my name.
Yep.
Beyonce. Okay. So, we all know I haven't been doing a super big amount of gaming. I've been playing Dreamlight Valley and the new Five Nights at Freddy's, which is really good.
Nice.
In VR. I do have a babysitter, and I'm mostly seated for it. So that is that. Opie does not like being the babysitter, and she freaks out. But that's besides the point. So I've watched my partner play a lot of games. I think he buys a game every single day because he's never playing the same thing. I go into his office at least 5 days a week and like sit down while he's working. Also, he's playing a game at the same time. I don't know how he codes and also plays a game. He's a genius. But he plays a lot of games. Now, he plays a lot of survival games that have now become co-op, like Void Train, for instance. And they always seem interesting to me because I do like things that have like a thrill to it, whether that's the intensity, the ambiance, what have you. So this came across my feed. It's a survival driving game, and it's called Pacific Drive. So it's basically you and your station wagon against the world, which I think is hysterical in and of itself. But it's between you and destruction in a section of Washington state where reality is constantly shifting. It looks absolutely fantastic. So there is a supernatural element to it. Basically, what you're doing, you navigate a surreal reimagining of the Pacific Northwest and face supernatural dangers as you venture into the Olympic exclusion zone. I will state that their current trailers do not show any monsters, but I've been told that that might also be in there.
Hmm.
Each excursion into the wilderness brings unique and strange challenges as you restore and upgrade your car from an abandoned garage that acts as your home base. Gather precious resources and investigate what's been left behind in the zone. Unravel a long forgotten mystery while learning exactly what it takes to survive in this unpredictable and hostile environment. Hostile is a key word for me, which makes me think it's not just the Golden Gate Bridge, all of a sudden gravity no longer exists on it, and there's lightning storms, that there are supernatural creatures out in this wilderness. So you have to outrun the storm while facing strange perils. Your car, your way. You scavenge resources and craft new equipment and configure your wagon how you want. Experiment with different mods, car parts to navigate a treacherous landscape and look good doing it. Interesting. You
Mm.
unravel the mystery of the Olympic exclusion zone, an abandoned research site in an anomaly-filled version of the Pacific Northwest, and the score is by Wilbert Roger. It looks fantastic. I think this is going to be a real big hit. It doesn't come out until February 22nd. Smitty, spoiler alert, because I know he's going to talk about it. He had a friend who got to play it. I have looked every which way that you could have named, and I could not get the A-OK and a key to this pre-beta version of it before they released the game, because I really wanted to try it out.
When did
I
you say
do
this
get
comes out?
February 22nd. So the day before my dad's birthday. That's how I'm remembering it. So it looks really fantastic. Apparently, some people have gotten early access and have gotten to play it. In the article that I just read from on Game Informer, they do have about 3 minutes of gameplay where they got to actually play the game. It looks amazing. Reminds me of Void Train, but of course you're in a station wagon. And I don't know if you get a little road buddy. It just seems like it's you in the car, which I think could make for a lot of funny dialogue. I hope there's some comedy in here because you got to give me thrills and comedy. But yeah, I was curious what you guys thought about it. Smitty, you said you already had a friend playing it, and I'm super jealous. Give them my number, please.
Yeah, listen, and you know me, man. Like I love a good survival game. I'm a huge survival game fan as well. So just having that separate premise where like your major like thing is this vehicle, and just watching and stuff like that. The atmosphere of it was super cool, especially if you like kind of supernatural sci-fi stuff. You have your basic survival things going out, gathering materials, crafting things to get better or have different abilities and whatnot. I was half watching, so I didn't really catch exactly what the premise was or the story. But from what I could see, I was like, this is insane. And there were some pretty tense moments as well. Just, when trying to get away from the storm and like, I saw some crazy stuff and I was like, I have no idea what's going on. This car is like flying now and I don't know why. Like, what is happening? Like, yeah. So the fact that it's this close, we're about a month out from its release. I'm wondering if this will be the last playtest that they do, or if they do, some sort of stress test or something like that. Because my understanding, again, this is a survival game, but it's a single player survival game. So I don't know what
Correct.
it looks like, yeah, in terms of like servers and things like that. Because a lot of times when I think of survival games, I think of open world survival games where
Mm-hmm.
people
Other people.
or MMO survival games a lot of times when I think about survival games. So I'll be interested to see, just how the launch goes, if they do another test before the actual release. But the game looks great. It looks great. And if, again, if you're checking stuff out, and whatnot, it's probably a game I think that a lot of people will at least be like, oh, that's kind of crazy. Let me see what this is about a little more, and then kind of go from there.
Yeah, I think the game looks. It looks interesting. I definitely will say that. I don't know if it's my well, it might be interesting enough for me to try it to try it out. So I will admit to that. But the who's the developer? I don't, because it looks very.
I just closed out my window. Let me look.
'Cause, like,
It will be, by the way, it will be on PlayStation 5 and PC on February 22nd. I had it up and I dropped it. Give me a moment. I'll answer that question for you.
Is it going to be, do you know if it's going to be on
Ironwood.
Xbox as well?
Does not say Xbox, just PlayStation 5 and
Interesting.
PC. Ironwood Studios. So not on Xbox. Sorry, my Xbox buddies. I can't think of anything I've played from Ironwood. And it's
That name
interesting
sounds familiar.
It does
because a
sound
lot of
familiar.
people try to get me to, they're like, you love sci-fi, play this new space game. This is my type of sci-fi. I don't know. I like space. I love watching Star Trek. I like sci-fi, and I like sci-fi in space. I just don't want to have that experience because I feel like I'm always let down. This is my type of sci-fi. This is where I feel like I thrive.
Looks like this is their first game. So
interesting.
Yeah. So
and the price tag isn't too bad. It was like around 25. It was less than $25.
Yeah, I think definitely. Yeah, it looks pretty interesting. If it's very simple, if it's clean, and I think since it's a one-player game, I think it must be like low upkeep, in a way, since you're just, the biggest thing is it's you just driving and surviving. So
I think so too. And
so I think it's very simple.
Every time you leave your little home base, it's different. A different experience every time, which I like. I don't want the same experience every single time. You know what I'm saying? I don't know. I'm really excited about this.
Yeah, we'll definitely see how that goes. It looks very promising. So, you know what? Like, it's like you don't have to reinvent the wheel when it comes to games.
Thank you.
If it's fun, then and you're going to, and you just create it in your way of of introducing that said fun, then then go for it. And I think that's what people kind of easily forget when it comes to trying to be edgy or whatnot. So if the experience is fun, like for instance, like I said, Final Fantasy 16, I love the game. The game is great because the game is incredibly simple, but I loved how the journey of it was really amazing. I think that it's if it gives you a good fun factor of experiencing the simplistic controls, and there's no harm in that. So yeah, I hope Pacific Drive has something.
I think sometimes you're right. It's not about the destination, it's about the journey. And I think this is one of those games. Because I've been playing Don't Scream, and don't get me wrong, it's a great game. However, it is very much the same repetition. And not to say it's not scary and it's not a great game and the updates aren't going to be fantastic. What I'm saying is I can anticipate at this level what's going to happen in every scary game I play. But when I can anticipate it as much as I can with that, it's not fun for me anymore.
Right.
Now I just like to see Opie try to beat it.
Are you gonna stream it when you get a chance? If you get it?
I have this game? Yes, I will absolutely play Pacific. I keep wanting to say specific. That's wrong. It's Pacific Drive. Specific. Yes, I will be playing this for sure. It's on my wish list already. So
awesome. All right. Well, Smitty, why don't you close this off?
Yeah.
What are you bringing to the table?
We got to wrap it up. We also got some news out of Twitch that they have partnered up with both OBS and NVIDIA to bring us enhanced broadcasting, which essentially is us being able to have the ability to push out multiple streams at once, different using different codecs and different resolutions. So essentially, some kind of like what YouTube already does, where you can have and you can change, or at least limitedly, where you can change what your viewing option is. This will allow folks to be able to, you could stream at 4K, but then you also have a stream that's being sent out that folks that are like maybe on mobile or have low bandwidth will be able to utilize. It's currently in beta right now, which if you go to your dashboard, you can sign up to be able to do so. And there's the integration with OBS to where basically you go into OBS, you tell it to do a self config, and it'll configure your stuff to be able to do that stuff. That is my understanding of it. Of course, one of the major things, if you have the 40 series RTX graphics cards, you're able to stream AV1 codec, which is way more efficient than any of the other codecs. I think a lot of times people are using either, was it X264 or maybe H264.
Yes.
So you're going to get a lot more bang out of your buck when it comes to quality, and it'll be a lot more efficient if you have that 30 series, or I'm sorry, 40 series. However, but you are able to, there's an MVEC codec as well, which is going to be more efficient too. I think this is huge. I know I've seen some people complaining about, they're basically dropping this on us to be able to do this because they're cheap and they don't want to do it themselves. Again, I don't know what that stuff looks like, how much it costs to be able to run that, but I mean, essentially it puts that load. And again, I don't know how much of a load that is, or if that's something that would really have a negative effect on me, but it's definitely something that, again, it basically allows you to have a dynamic stream to where no matter what a person's watching on, whether it be a 4K monitor or a cell phone, it will essentially optimize the best stream for whatever your viewer, whatever you're trying to view it on. Yeah, and push that out. So, I mean, I think this is huge. This is something that we've been talking about that or at least for me, that I feel like it's kind of been lame that they have not given us the option. This has been an option that partners have had for years. It just sounds like they've made it more robust and working directly with NVIDIA and OBS, giving folks a way to be able to easily do this within the constraints of the hardware that they have. So I wanted to know what other people's thoughts were on this, what your feelings are. Again, I feel like there's a lot of folks that don't necessarily understand what it means. And
I think overall, well, first of all, I'm going to say this: it's about damn time, because that's the biggest thing. Yeah, that's the biggest thing that everyone's issue was with Twitch was this nonsense of like that they were doing. Their quality of their videos was nowhere near the level of quality that YouTube has always done, because YouTube just maybe switched over to AV1 maybe a year ago, but prior to that, YouTube has been kicking their ass when it comes to the quality of their video, because the pipeline was big. Now what this is cool about is that they're finally doing, which is the irony of all of this, is the fact is that they run all of this through AWS. I don't even right. And AWS is their brand. I don't even understand what the heck this, why it took them so long to deal with this. And so what doesn't make sense to me is that encoding doesn't use a lot on a computer's resources. Encoding is just the type of the way that the information is being encoded, so it's being broadcasted out to whatever pipeline that you're sending it out to. So you're barely using even 264 and all these different kinds of the NVIDIA codecs and stuff like that. And NVIDIA codecs is better because it's optimized better than what 264 does, so it's a little bit cleaner. But it's not that hard. But on top of that is the fact that they're now optimizing it on the viewer side too, because how you had the option of 360, 480 to 1080 and stuff like that, but they were using an archaic way of trying to say, okay, we can only get up to 1080 for most viewership. But now we're able to do 2K, 4K quality, and you can actually push it up if you want to, give you the option to do that, because the pipeline, they finally decided to, a streaming service is finally deciding to expand that pipeline to be able for you to do it. It's like, it's unbelievable how far behind Twitch is overall, like in my opinion, towards all of this. And I'm just like, this is like instead of all the bells and whistles that y'all have been trying to do, for all the, how many Twitch cons have happened? Like six Twitch cons and stuff, like, oh, we're going to be adding stream together. We're going to be doing all of this. We're going to be doing this to allow you to do multi-streaming and stuff like that. It's like, this is all well and good, but can you make the quality of, like, of your streams better? Can you do us as a favor on that? Can you make your mobile work better for us, because your mobile is still terrible? Like, I mean, god dang, it's like it's really, I mean, I am going to give credit where the credit is due. I'm glad Twitch has done it. They had to go through a CEO. They had to go through two CEO changes for it to happen. The CEO recognized it immediately, which is, I'm really glad that's more like, he's more the most competent CEO in my opinion that Twitch has ever had. But still, like, yes, I'm for this. I'm definitely for this. This change itself. Especially now, since now it makes me have another reason to get a 4 series card now, because like I'm instead of running with the 1080 as well too. So we'll definitely see how this goes. Lex, what do you think?
I don't know why it took so long. I can't tell you how many times I'll we'll be playing a game and I have it set that you can watch me at 1080, but if you happen to be on your cell phone, you can drop it down to 420, so that way you're not having any like latency issues. I mean, we all have a little bit of latency for protection, but on top of that. So, but even still, I'll have, other streamer friends of mine are like, I just got off work, I needed to crash in bed for a minute, and I'm watching on my phone and it will not stop freezing. Is this a me issue? Is it Twitch? And people in chat are like, I'm watching on my TV and computer and it seems to be fine, and then it'll switch, cell phone is fine, but if you're watching it on a PC or the TV, it's not. And so thankfully they fixed it. Thank you. Maybe, I don't know, I haven't tried it out yet, so I can't report back yet, but I agree, it's high time that we fixed the pipeline. So thank you. I think
it makes sense too, because this is more of a quality life for viewers than anything. You know what I mean? So that they have a better experience, whether they're watching on a 4K monitor or watching on their phone, whatever. It gives them more options to be able to do that and make that experience a lot better. So that's why, again, to me, it just never made sense why they didn't open this up earlier. Why
almost
this?
like they treated it like a luxury, and it's like, wait a minute,
Right?
Like, I don't want to lose viewership because the quality on their end stinks, right? Like that's silly. And I think a lot of the reason a lot of us have lost the viewership that we had was because of quality. And maybe it's a little too late. I don't know, but hopefully this will fix it for the future.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, don't get me wrong. I mean, I'm still like, there's a lot of fixing that Twitch needs to do. But at least we know that they're going in the right direction on trying to finally upgrading their services. And like I said before, they absolutely have no reason, reason why they're so far behind to YouTube. Because it doesn't even make any sense. YouTube even goes like, they
paved the way already for them.
For AW, I mean, like, just on cloud uploading and stuff like that with services itself, it's just ridiculous with just the nonsense that you have to deal with to get good quality. So I mean, I don't know, man. Like, it's just but I'm definitely glad that they're allowing you to do this, because especially and what I love them especially now is I don't have to use YouTube as my main base service through Restream, because the codecs are better on one than it is on the other, because all Restream does is just mirror whatever your version of your codec is, and then it mirrors it out to all the other ones. So so now I don't have to worry about that if it does it right. And all, but then also the next question is how long is this thing going to be in beta? Because that's the one thing that they're never really transparent about. Like if they have an idea of how long it's going to be, who is going to be available for? Because it could be just like a partner streaming only kind of thing. Because they don't want to put everyone on it yet because it might overload or whatever their fears are and stuff. Like they just need to give us a little bit more information on like how are they going to implement this, you know. But the announcement itself from NVIDIA, yeah, kudos to them on that.
Well, and my big thing is that, I mean, even though that's a feature that's in beta with them, I think the heavy lifting is done on the OBS side and with the configuring of the stuff. So technically, I think it's technically more of an OBS update than anything. And then bringing in, you know, obviously sending to their platform, they open up those pipelines in the video saying like, hey, you know, we're working it so that you will then be able to push multiple different streams via that, whatever the OBS pipeline is. So, you know, it's still kind of weird. I did sign up for it. But I haven't heard anything back in terms of getting in or what any of that stuff looks like. But I'm curious because I feel like there's been a lot of, especially if you've been on socials, obviously there's people already bitching and complaining about it. And I think that's just more of a not understanding what it is as opposed to, hey, man, like this is a good thing. This is a good thing that's happening. I don't care, you know, whatever the route may be that they're going to get there, we're at least getting there is the important part to me.
It's not really an OBS upgrade update itself because OBS has already been able. You're already able to do AV1 because remember, like the thing is that when you select your streaming server, like from inside OBS, OBS like so let's say you do Twitch as your streaming server inside OBS. It will only show you the available codecs that the streaming server is only be able to do. So let's say, but if you go into OBS like for instance, like right now, if you go to OBS and then you change the streaming service to YouTube servers, then you already have available AV1 and all these other codecs already readily available.
Right.
OBS can automatically do it. The problem is that Twitch could never do was not able to do AV1 or RTX and all that stuff prior to all of this until this beta or whatever is now. So maybe this beta is going to allow OBS to see if you're able to get into the beta that you can see AV1 in Twitch when you do the server, maybe. But I don't know. I honestly don't know. So we'll see. But we'll see because like you could technically even with Restream, you could do Restream and then you could set it up to AV1 if you wanted it to. So it's just Twitch is just late to the punch. Like for basically any technology that Twitch upgrades to, they're going to be late to the punch because they've been pussyfooting around this whole time.
I love that word, pussyfooting around. Yeah. Thanks, Grandpa.
I used to say that.
I'm tired.
We call him Old Man Whitmore.
Davis, Old Man Whitmore Green. Yeah, there you go.
Stop pussyfooting around.
Yeah, so Dog saying yeah, but was AV1 multi-encoded before this? Yeah, they were. It was. I mean, the problem was like there wasn't platforms that supported it. The only platform that supported it was YouTube. And so there was no reason to multi-stream on AV1 platform until now. So if YouTube and Twitch is able to do it, I mean, you might as well do it.
But again, you have to have a 40 series card.
You do need a 40 series card
in order to do it. Anything lower will not do AV1.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
that definitely gives you an incentive to want to upgrade, and I'm sure that will help NVIDIA's bottom line as well. But like, hey man, we got the cars that you need to be able to do to come on in, baby. Come on in.
Yeah, well, like this is good. Well, to be honest with you, this is going to be the first time that we're going to be able to see AV1 multi-streaming because this will never. It's never been done because we now have more. Now we have two different platforms. They'll be able to randomly do. They'll be able to support it theoretically. So who know? Yeah.
I
So
see what
this
you're
is
saying.
yeah. So this is new terrain. So honestly, I don't know if like what to expect out of this, but I think it's a cool thing to kind of be messing around with because but we'll definitely see. We'll definitely have to see.
I'm
and
just
check
happy
it
for a
out.
better user experience and to give folks that are streaming that can do it
Mhm.
more options to be able to do that stuff as opposed to having it closed off like that. So,
Mhm.
again, I think that'll be huge, and I think you're right. I don't know anybody unless maybe to a private server in YouTube or something like that, but I haven't seen any use cases where people are multi-streaming via AV1 codec. So I'd be
Mhm.
curious to see what those differences look like because from what I've heard with AV1, it's pretty damn efficient. It's pretty damn
Yeah.
efficient. So
Yeah, I've only messed with AV1 like once, so I will be will be messing around with it definitely once I do an upgrade for a 40 series card. But we'll see. We'll definitely have to see and find out. So no, but that's cool. We'll see. Well, I'm actually excited. It's been a long time.
I
to
think
see
it's a positive
streaming.
overall.
Yeah, it's a very good
Yeah.
positive. It's a very good
Very true.
positive. Yeah, so we'll definitely see.
Hi,
You know.
Opie.
Folks, thank you for listening to episode number 203 of the CFG Game Cast. Thank you for being a part of the conversation as always. We will be back again next week with a whole new set of different topics or discussions. But if you did miss out on this week's episode, that's perfectly all right. We do release it on all podcast services, Apple, Google Podcasts, Stitcher Radio, Podbean, all of them at each and every beginning of the week on Monday. So there's absolutely no reason to miss out on our sexy voices. Ooh. Oh yeah, and also be sure to check out our main website, confreaksandgeeks.com. We are bringing some new stuff, trying some new things, so definitely give us some good feedback and tell us what you think. So once again, this is Davis, Lex, and Smitty signing out. Y'all, take it easy.
Bye.